She didn't scream, she didn't throw things, she didn't even cry, not anymore. Because this kind of pain doesn't always show up in loud ways. Sometimes it's silent, sometimes it just sits in your chest, like a weight you've been carrying for so long you forget what it's like to breathe without it. She looked fine on the outside, held herself together at work, answered the usual "I'm fine" with a smile, even posted happy photos now and then. But inside, she was falling apart, emotionally shattered, exhausted from pretending, numb from surviving. And the worst part? She didn't even know why. There wasn't one big event, no tragedy, no explosion, just years of wounds never healed, words never spoken, emotions never released. The days all started to blur. Wake up, survive, sleep, repeat. She'd stare at the ceiling at night, whispering to no one in particular, "What's wrong with me?" And the silence answered back, cold and unkind. This was her breaking point. Not a moment of chaos, but a slow collapse on the inside. A quiet kind of rock bottom that no one around her could see. But something was coming, something she didn't expect, something that would change everything. Her childhood wasn't a war zone. There were no bruises on her skin, no police reports, no screaming matches that neighbors could hear. But pain doesn't always leave visible marks. Her wounds were quieter, more subtle, but just as deep. Like the time she cried and was told to stop being dramatic, or when she succeeded and no one noticed, or the thousand little ways she was made to feel unworthy, unseen, not enough. She grew up learning to suppress everything. The tears, the anger, the need for love. She became the strong one, the dependable one, the one who never needed help. But strength can become a cage. Years passed, and the little girl who just wanted to be held became a woman who didn't know how to ask for comfort. She didn't know how to trust, didn't know how to feel safe, didn't know how to love herself, and so she carried it all. The memories, the shame, the guilt for not being better by now. Each moment of silence, each time she swallowed her truth, added another brick to the wall around her heart. No one could see it, but inside she was bleeding. And still, somehow, she kept going, not knowing that one day soon, a single moment, one prayer, would begin to heal it all. She didn't know how to say, "I'm not okay." So she said nothing. She smiled at friends, showed up to work, answered texts with emojis, but inside she was screaming. Every moment felt like walking through fog. She moved, but didn't feel present. She heard people talk, but nothing stuck. And when she was alone, the silence became unbearable. She sat on the edge of her bed night after night, wrapping her arms around her knees, trying to hold herself together. Literally, tears would come, not because something happened, but because everything hurt. And still, no one knew. She got good at pretending. She convinced herself that asking for help was weakness, that everyone had their problems, that she should be grateful, that what she was feeling didn't matter. But deep down, a part of her was begging, "Please, someone see me. Please, someone say it's okay to break." She didn't post about it, didn't call anyone, didn't go to therapy. She just endured. But pain always finds a way to speak. And one night, in the middle of that same silence, her soul whispered something so soft she almost missed it. There has to be more than this. And in that whisper, for the first time, she didn't feel alone. Something was shifting. Something was calling her toward healing, even if she didn't know what it looked like yet. It happened on a night like any other. She wasn't looking for anything, just scrolling mindlessly, half numb on the couch, lost in the noise of other people's lives. Then she saw it. A short video, a stranger's voice, a simple message. "You are not broken beyond repair. God still sees you, and healing is coming." She froze. She didn't know why it hit her like it did. She had heard 1,000 things like that before, but this time, it felt personal, like the words were meant for her, like someone had finally seen through the mask. She watched it again and again, and then she cried. Not a single tear, but a flood. All the pain she had buried came rushing out, the years of pretending, the fear of being weak, the silence she had lived in. She whispered through the tears, "God, if you're real, I need you. I don't know what to do anymore. I just know I can't do this alone." No thunder shook the room. No angels appeared, but something inside her shifted, something real. It wasn't dramatic, it was quiet, but she felt it. A presence, a peace, a whisper in her heart. "You're not alone anymore." It was the beginning, the start of a journey she never saw coming, a path she didn't understand, but was finally willing to follow. She didn't know how to pray, not really. She hadn't grown up reciting sacred words. She didn't know the verses, the rituals, the right things to say. But that night, she got down on her knees for the first time in years. No script, no audience, just her and whatever was listening. And what came out wasn't polished. It wasn't poetic, it was raw. God, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't even know if you hear me. But I'm breaking, and I can't fix this on my own. Please, heal whatever is broken inside me. The words poured out. Pain she didn't know she'd been holding. Memories she thought she had buried. Shame she had never spoken aloud. And in that moment, she didn't feel judged. She didn't feel unworthy. She felt held. There were no lightning bolts, no sudden miracles. But there was warmth, a peace that wrapped around her like a blanket. A stillness that reached into the places where chaos had lived for far too long. And afterward, for the first time in what felt like forever, she slept, deeply, peacefully. That prayer didn't fix everything, but it opened something inside her. A door she didn't know had been closed, a place where healing could finally begin. It was no longer about surviving, it was about restoring, and that journey had just begun. Healing is beautiful, but it's also brutal. No one tells you that after the prayer, after the moment of peace, life will test everything you just surrendered. And it did. Old emotions resurfaced. Memories she thought were buried came back, sharper than ever. Triggers appeared out of nowhere. A voice, a smell, a song, and suddenly she was back in pain. But this time, something had changed. She no longer drowned in the pain. She observed it. She breathed through it. She remembered the prayer. Healing isn't linear, she reminded herself. This is part of the process. Some days she felt strong, empowered, hopeful. Other days she felt like she was back at square one, crying in her car, avoiding people, questioning everything. But even in those low moments, she was no longer the same woman. She had a foundation now, faith, still fragile, still growing, but it was there. She prayed again, this time, not from desperation, but from relationship. God, I don't understand today, but I trust that you're still working in me. And little by little, she stopped defining herself by her emotions. She stopped shaming herself for her tears. She gave herself permission to fall and grace to rise again. These were the days that tested her. And yet, they also proved one thing. She was healing. And nothing could stop that now. She didn't notice it all at once. But change was happening. Little things at first. She woke up without dreading the day. She smiled without forcing it. She laughed, not because she had to, but because something inside her felt lighter. The weight wasn't gone, but she was learning to carry it differently. Not alone, not in silence. She began to speak truth over herself every morning. Not just affirmations, but declarations. I am not who I was. God is doing something new in me. My story doesn't end in pain. She opened her Bible, not out of obligation, but out of hunger. She craved something deeper, something sacred. Verses that once felt like just words now felt like medicine. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. She read it over and over. Ezekiel 36:26. And each time it felt more true. She forgave people, not because they deserved it, but because she refused to carry their poison anymore. She forgave herself for everything she had said in her pain, for how long it took to ask for help, for all the days she survived without joy. And then she started to love, not just others, but the woman in the mirror. She saw herself as God saw her, worthy, restored, whole. Her heart had changed, her spirit had shifted, and the girl who once fell apart in silence was becoming a woman of unshakable peace. She's not the same, and she never will be. The woman who once hid her pain, who feared her emotions, who begged to feel anything but numb, is gone. In her place now stands someone reborn, someone who walked through fire and didn't come out burned, but refined. She still has scars, she still has moments, but she knows how to face them now, with grace, with truth, with faith, because she doesn't walk alone anymore. She found her voice, she found her God, she found herself. Now, when the storms return, as they always do, she doesn't panic. She plants her feet, lifts her eyes and remembers who carried her through the last one. She is softer now, but stronger, kinder, but bolder, quieter, but louder in the ways that matter. She prays differently, not just for escape, but for purpose. And when she sees someone else drowning in the same pain she once knew, she reaches out, not with advice, but with presence. She listens. She sits in the dark with them. And when the time is right, she says, You're not alone. You're not broken. And I promise you, there is healing waiting for you too. She is proof that prayer can reach places no one else can touch, that God still meets us in the middle of our breakdowns, that what feels like the end is often just the beginning. She was falling apart emotionally until one prayer healed everything. And now,